Morning. Good. Did the traffic? In fact, we left a bit late and we thought we'll be stuck, but we reached on time. So we're extremely excited to be here today. So over the last couple of days, our team has had some very great interaction with the developer community, and we look forward to having similar great interaction today over the day at our booth. Feel free to meet us. We have experts who come from Australia, Hong Kong, Singapore, and please do see them. Sarim Aziz, our colleague, was to chair this keynote session. Unfortunately, he is unable to make it. So he sends his apologies. He's based in Singapore. So we would, on his behalf, conduct this session. So we're going to talk today on what's the opportunity for Java developers on the BlackBerry platform. So before we get into details, I would like to spend a few minutes on why BlackBerry platform. What does the platform offer to you and me as a developer? Is there a monetization route? How's the market doing? Can I make money on the platform? So next few minutes, I'm going to share some great data points. I know the data points are a bit boring, but I would like to just go through it so that the market realities as to where we are. I used the same data point slides yesterday, so if there are some attendees who were there yesterday, apologies, but I can't change the facts or the data points, right? So let's get started. The moment the name BlackBerry is mentioned, what's the first thought instinctively comes to our mind? I guess it is well depicted by this picture, right? That BlackBerry is just for business. It just does corporate email. But then let's look at some of the data points we have picked up from our APAC region. So if you see in Indonesia and Thailand, those are the data points where you see a lot of consumer uptake. People are using it for their personal usage. And when you talk of consumers and their usage pattern, it all has a very strong integrated social context. So we talk about apps like the BlackBerry Messenger, talk about Foursquare, Twitter, Facebook. So from a myth which says BlackBerry is only for email and that too in corporates, these are some of the data points which we thought would share with you on the consumer front. Next data point, we're going to talk about, can BlackBerry developers make money? The general conception is, we don't know how many users are there. Will there be, a monetization route? So we thought, okay, share this information with you. So I have a read. We are the second most profitable app store in terms of paid applications, right? That's the amount of money a developer can make because the data usage on the BlackBerry platform in terms of downloads, these are the numbers which speak. And 13% of the developers have made 100,000 or more. Evans Data Corporation is the source for this, right? But it's from them. The next one is the BlackBerry market is shrinking. Well, we've been in the news for the last 1.5 years for some reason or the other. It was all about security, the government, so there are a lot of other stories behind that. But the question was, will BlackBerry, what will they do? Is it going to be there or not? Right? So those are some of the questions specifically to the Indian context. But what has happened in the past 1 year, irrespective of all what's happening in the marketplace, 20 million active subscribers have been added over the past 1 year. So that's the user base, the current base which you look at, right? BlackBerry users don't use applications. So again interesting data point that 177 million downloads per month from the BlackBerry app world. So that's a huge number for us, and this number is growing pretty fast. So I'll just summarize by one slide because the BlackBerry App World is the distribution channel for all the developers where your applications are available, right, globally. So 77 million active subscribers as of today on the BlackBerry platform, 70,000 applications spread over 175 countries, 40 carriers, and needless to say, any developer can submit the application on the App World. There is no charge, no registration fees. So with that, we have set the context. Why BlackBerry platform? Now let's look on the opportunities specific to Java developers. How do you go about on the BlackBerry platform? So with that, I'll invite my colleague Chris, who's based in Sydney. He's come here all the way to have a great interaction. So over to you, Chris. Thank you.
Thanks, Pradeep. Hello, everyone. Okay. Perfect. As Pradeep mentioned, I'd just like to extend a very warm welcome. It's to you guys at the Great Indian Developer Summit. It's my first time in India, and I do have to say that I don't think I've ever eaten so well in my life. So the food here is quite incredible. So today we just wanted to talk about the Java opportunities. And specifically, we have our existing legacy platform, which is a very robust and mature platform. And this operating system has been around for roughly 10 years, just over 10 years. And there are significant opportunities on this, as this is what our current platform is that is out in. We have it's getting close to 80 million devices out in the field right now, as Pradeep mentioned. But at the same time, we're getting ready to showcase BlackBerry 10 later in the year, and this is our new operating system, a new platform that's going forward. But it is a departure from the existing legacy BlackBerry OS. But the interesting thing about the new platform is that we are providing Android support for this. So I wanted to go over some details of kind of the opportunity with the existing platform as well as the Android platform that's coming up. So the latest operating system that we have is BlackBerry 7 for the smartphones. And this is a big step forward for us because not only is it enabling a lot of new software features, but there's actually a lot of new hardware capabilities that are on the new devices as well. So things like we now have a near-field communications radio. So with NFC, we're able to actually implement mobile payment solutions as well as quickly sharing data. So we all know Bluetooth takes a little while to connect, 6 to 10 seconds. But with NFC, we're able to actually connect in under roughly about a tenth of a second. So it's a significantly faster way of connecting your digital devices together. We also have a digital compass now. So that's also enabling a lot of interesting things such as augmented reality applications. So when we tie that into things like the native window manager, so you're able to overlay content directly onto a camera field, as well as the geolocation features with the GPS. And now we also have geofencing capabilities as well, so you're easily able to determine where you are within a certain range as opposed to having to create all of that, that logic on the back end to manage that stuff. So some further things, we now have GPUs on all our new devices, so we have hardware accelerated graphics. And additionally, this is implementing some interesting things where we now have full support for OpenGL 2.0 for embedded systems within Java. So we have the Java bindings that are tying down to the local native environment on the device. And additionally, on top of this, we now have something that we're calling liquid graphics. And what this is it's an optimized Java pipeline. And what this is doing is it's enabling 60 frames per second across all our devices. So you can create a very rich and fluid experience. And combined with the high resolution and high definition screens on the new hardware, it's quite an interesting and high performance environment. And all of these things that it's tying into is creating something that we call the super app experience. And this is something that we've kind of been building over a few years and to develop these attributes. And basically the philosophy behind it is enabling two factors so that one, you can stand out from the crowd so that your application can actually get onto a user's device. And secondly, it's so that your application can stay on that user's device. So there's plenty of statistics out there that are showing that a lot of people, they try a bunch of different apps and then they use it once and then they just get rid of it. So by integrating deeply with the device and leveraging some of these attributes, we're able to actually ensure that your application is staying on that user's device. So there's 6 key attributes that we talk about when we refer to the super app experience. First one is the always-on experience. So because our operating system is a little different from our competitors, we're able to actually leverage true multitasking in our devices. So this enables you to run in the background and handle everything, all the data, and process things in the back. So it's not in some kind of limited experience. Social and connected is a very important feature for us, and I have another slide coming up shortly where we'll discuss some of the specifics about BlackBerry Messenger integration. And there's other open and public APIs that you can use, such as Flickr, Facebook, Twitter, and so forth. And of course, designing for efficiency. This has always been one of our key tenets to the BlackBerry experience, in that we've always had very strong battery life. And there's things that we do here where we optimize the processing that's happening on the device. We optimize the network data that's being transferred so that the radio doesn't have to be used as often. And all of these things increase the battery life, which in turn increases the benefit to the user. Tight integration with native apps and services. We have a lot of platform services with BlackBerry that are available that allows you to integrate into cloud-based services, as well as things on the device with the local user's data, so accessing things like the calendar and the address book. The remaining one's proactive notification driven. Again, that's very similar to designing for efficiency, so we're just making sure that you're not having to pull the network. And highly contextualized, again, tight integration with the device, so we're able to know what kind of context the device and the user is currently working with, and then you can tailor your app specifically for that. And we're running out of a little bit of time here, so I'm going to try and blast through the rest of this because there are some important stuff coming up with the Android runtime I want to get to. But just a quick note on the impact of BlackBerry Messenger connected applications. So since the launch in July, we've had 735 applications that have been included or have included the BBM connected APIs, and this has generated 183 million downloads. But the interesting thing about this is that when you put this into the context of the percentages that this is representing, less than 1% of the applications on BlackBerry App World are generating 10% of the total downloads. So there's a huge opportunity here, and the APIs are including things like being able to share your content to your friends and your family within your BlackBerry contact list. So it's increasing the engagement, increasing the discoverability, and really giving you that opportunity for your application to go viral. So now to jump over to the Android runtime, this is something that we're introducing with our upcoming operating system later in the year. And basically what we're doing is we're including the runtime, so we're providing the software stack. So it's not like we're emulating the entire operating system. We're providing the Java virtual machine, and then we're tying that virtual machine into our underlying OS. So we actually have very tight integration. It runs just like a native application. You have full access to various features such as SQLite storage, the graphics and media framework on the device, things like the GPS accelerometer. And again, just to reiterate, it's very much an optimized performance, and it's not running in a virtual environment. So a few other details. This is all available on our website, so I won't go into this too much just because I'm wary of time. But again, just to reiterate that it's very much part of the operating system. It doesn't run in a separate window. It doesn't run in a separate emulator. It is deployed directly through all our existing channels. So basically what you're doing is you're taking your Android application and you're just packaging it as a BlackBerry archive file. And once you have this bar file, then you're able to actually deploy it through BlackBerry App World just like any other application. And the nice thing about it is that there's very minimal effort that's required, and many existing applications require no changes. So there's a couple tools that are available, and right now we actually have a plugin for the Android Development Toolkit. So you're able to actually target it just like any other Android device, and you're able to debug applications on the tablet just like you would with the existing tool set. And we also have some packaging tools where if you already have your compiled APK file, you're able to actually just run this through our packager, and then you're given a bar file. And it's a quick and easy way. You can do it via the command line, or we also have a front end available through the web, and you can just do it online on our website. So a couple key points just to wrap things up. There's some compatibility issues that we're still kind of sorting out. Right now, we're currently supporting the Gingerbread version at API level 10, so this is Android 2.3.3. Most APIs are fully supported, but there's a few things such as add-on libraries, the Android native development kit, things like Bluetooth, widgets, and background services, just because the way the architecture is set up, we're providing the runtime, we're not providing the whole Android operating system. So some of those features aren't available at this time. So a final note, if you do have an application and you want to try and co-market it and you feel that you have something that can really stand out, we'd love to hear from you. Our email marketing address is blackberryappworldmarketing@rim.com. And we would very much like to hear from you and hear what you're doing and see what we might be able to help you out with. Finally, just a couple quick notes about what we're going to be doing today. We have a session on an introduction to BlackBerry Java. I'll be delivering that at 10:45. My colleague Alan Wong will be speaking at 11:40 on some of our platform services and going into more depth with the BBM social connected APIs. And tomorrow we're actually running a BlackBerry WebWorks bootcamp. So if there's any web developers still here today, we'd invite you to come check that out as well. And finally, we have the tools set up at our booth, which is just out at the corner, I believe, by the exit up here. And we have the ability to port all your applications right here if you have your APK file. And we also have some playbooks to give away if you're able to do that. So I'd encourage you to come up. And finally, I'd just like to say thank you and again, a very warm welcome. It's great to be here. We look forward to talking to you and seeing you at the booth and having a chat there. Thank you.